being able to win the race and govern this country. The general theme of my campaign is a broad one, and we can talk about the specific issues. But the broad theme of this country is very basic. Ronald Reagan, the greatness of Ronald Reagan was not his policies. The greatness of Ronald Reagan was to be able to communicate to the American public who we are, and based upon who we are, to support the policies that were consistent with what made America great. He was a president who didn't divide us. Listen to the president today. How many speeches are you sick and tired of hearing millionaires and billionaires? Are you sick and tired of hearing this group of people against this group of people? People who want this and care about themselves as opposed to care about other people. Ronald Reagan would never do that. Great leaders of America, maybe great leaders of other countries, despots, pit one group against another. The great leaders of this country do not. And so what I talk about in all of my speeches, I said, the first lesson, and this was Reagan's admonition, by the way, in his farewell address, the last thing he said to America before he left office, he said he was concerned about the future of our country because Americans were increasingly forgetting who we are. And if Americans forget who we are, then what will we fight for in the future? What reason to fight? And I just want to remind you of who we are and what made us great. There may be some Tea Partiers here. I was at a Tea Party debate last night, and I love the Tea Party. I think they bring an energy and an enthusiasm to the process that is absolutely necessary, and their fixation upon the Constitution and how this country is going to operate. It's a very powerful and important thing to remind us how our country was structured and organized. But I always tell the Tea Party people, your emphasis on one document to the exclusion of the other founding document is a dangerous thing. The Constitution is absolutely a bedrock, essential element of our country. But it is the operator's manual for America. It's the how of America. It is not the why of America. It is not who we are. It is how we live, which is important, obviously. But the why of America is in a different document. It's in the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence, the first document, the one that established us, set forth, you hear this term, American exceptionalism. Most Americans feel it. We know we're exceptional. We know we've transformed the world. We know we've done a lot of great things. But it's not the great things that we've done that made us exceptional. It's who we are that made us exceptional, and who we are allowed us to do the great things. Created the conditioned precedent, if you will, to do the great things. Who we are is in that one phrase that all of you, because you weren't educated in the last 15 or 20 years in public schools, all of you know. We hold these truths. You can recite them for me. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now you all know that. It's written in many respects on your heart. But you really thought about how transformational those words were. For the first time in the history of the world, we had a government that was instituted, where the government said, rights come to you and you and you and you and you, all of us, equally. Think about the countries that our founders came from. Was that the case? No. There were classes, lords and ladies, barons and dukes. There were classes. There was not equality. Now, obviously, we didn't have perfect equality at the time of the Declaration. We didn't have a government that was unequal either, by the way. We had a concept that said all. They didn't say some. They said all men are created equal. And where did they come up with that concept? Had any other country in the history of the world ever suggested that? The answer is no. No. Foreign. It had been in philosophy and Western civilization, but it had never been instituted by God. And where did our rights come from? Again, had this ever been done? The answer, no. Never in the history of the world did we say that rights came from God to each one of you equally. This was radical thinking. It must have absolutely abhorred all of the aristocracy around the world. That these elite men, interesting enough, these were the elite in society who drafted this document. And yet they said that they were going to let the hard-scrabble average American have equal rights. Amazing. Amazing gift. And what happened? Well, we changed the world. We established a country that said rights come to us from God. And when God gives us those rights, what rights are they? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, fundamental right. They could have said liberty, life, happiness. Could have said happiness, life, liberty. Why did they put them in those orders? You can't have anything unless you have life. You can't have life is meaningless unless you have freedom. And you can't be happy, right? Unless you have the freedom to pursue your own dreams. So there's this ordered liberty, an amazing concept. So rights came from God, and when those rights came, did our founders believe that the rights came and then you could do whatever you wanted to do? Was that the founding principle? No. If you go back and you look at the definition of happiness at the time of the founding, you know what you'll find? The definition of happiness was to do the morally right thing. Why? Why did people back then think that meant happiness? Because they were all understood. The true happiness comes from serving Him, doing His will. Living a good and moral, decent life leads to happiness. So our founders said we had rights from God, we had laws that we were supposed to follow. In essence, America was founded on this great moral enterprise. And the Constitution was established to do one thing: protect those rights. We had a Constitution that was set up to protect the rights in the Declaration, and we were going to have a society that trusted each and every one of you to live good, moral, and decent lives, to provide for yourself, your family, your community, and your country. And we would build a great nation from the bottom up. Imagine that. Imagine that. And it worked. It worked beyond anybody's wildest dreams. At the time of the Declaration, life expectancy in America was 35 to 40 years of age. We were an agrarian society. Go back to the time of Jesus Christ. What was life expectancy? 35 to 40 years of age, and they were an agrarian society. 1,800 years of kings and emperors and dictators ruling Western civilization. And the human condition did not change. Even though all during that time the kings and the lords and the ladies would say, we're doing it for the benefit of the people. This is all because we're beneficent and benevolent. They ruled always for the people. But the people were subjects of the royalty, subjected to the will of the royalty. Here in America, we said, no, we're going to do it completely different. We're going to trust, we're going to let go. We're going to have limited government. And in 235 years, life expectancy is doubled, more than doubled. We went through an industrial revolution, a technology revolution. The poorest person in America today, from the standpoint of creature comforts, is wealthier than people who were the wealthiest people in America even 50 years ago. That's the dynamism of America. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what's at stake. The heart and soul of America is at stake. Now, why can I say that? Why would I say that? Because a bill passed that really led me to be here. It's called Obamacare. That bill changes everything. There's been lots of programs that have been passed that have encroached government into our lives. Some of them legitimate, well-meaning programs, but have increased government dependency. Dependency on government, and when you're